So, talk to me about the inception of this thing.
Mm-hmm. Of 616 Entertainment.
Yeah.
I remember... See, the artist had a totally different story.
See,
because
that's
he
what I figured
came
it would
on
be.
in 2008 after I had been doing it already.
Okay. When did you start?
I remember in 2001, my friends Bobby Morrissey, Tony Cortese, and some other jerk-offs were like... who are all like no longer in my life anymore, which kind of sucks because they were good dudes. But I moved away. You know,
there weren't ones that you were
happens.
trying to cut out.
Yeah, it just kind of happened with time. But they had told me one day that they made a movie together, and it was a horror movie, and we're like 10 and 11 at the time. And when they told me that they did that and I wasn't there, I was so fucking mad.
Right.
Because that's all I wanted to do was make movies, and none of my friends wanted to fucking make movies. So when I found out my friends made a movie and didn't invite me, I was like, you sons of bitches. And then I demanded to see it. And back then, like if we watched it now, dog shit.
Obviously.
But
have you
back
watched
then,
Three Ninjas? We talked about that actually on one podcast.
But back then it was just like, yo, this is so good. But you should have done this instead of that. So then we started making our own movies, and they were all horror movies. But we would just call it like Halloween 9. Because like one of us had a Michael Myers mask, and we all loved horror movies. So we would just make these garbage horror movies. And the VHS tapes are around somewhere.
Dude, you should find them.
But, and dude, back then there was no technology. It was like fucking 1998. And we had Bobby Morrissey's little brother Johnny with a boombox under a blanket in the back of the room with the CD, which the only track was the Michael Myers Halloween theme song.
You just had that
and his job was to look through the hole in the Afghan, and when Michael Myers gets into the shot, he would press play. So, because we couldn't edit. Anything. So, like, the music...
Because you're doing it like a home camcorder, right?
Yeah. Oh, man, it was garbage. But... yeah, that was like the first movies that we made were like old horror movies, and then which I feel like is the course most people go through when they make movies, make shitty horror movies.
I'll tell you about my shitty first attempt at a movie.
Yeah, let's hear it.
No, keep going.
We just did that. The 616 Entertainment name didn't come up until 2007 was the first video on this YouTube channel, and
it's a long time.
The video was called 332 Java.
Okay.
And my buddy Bathroom Money Tim Yours, who I've known since 1996-ish. I've known that guy for a long time. 20 years! Oh my goodness! I've known that boy 20 years. Wow. But...
you've known him longer than, like, armpit hair.
Yeah, that's true. We made this video in 2007 called 332 Java, where the whole idea was... he, like, had some drink. It was like a Gatorade. Okay. And he took a sip of it. We were delirious because we had been up for days. And he just goes, that's some good Java. And in my head, I go, that's a movie. Let's make a movie out of this. So, like, it was the dumbest fucking thing ever of just him going around my house looking for Java. What Java was, we didn't know. It was some sort of drink. And then, like, I put the camera in the freezer for this one shot, and he, like, opened the freezer up. He's like, there's no Java in here. And he, like, slammed it shut. That freezer stayed open all night and broke the fridge. So that was a casualty of that first video.
Wow.
But, yeah, I guess he found the Java and he drank it, and that was the end of that video. But it doesn't exist anymore. YouTube pulled it.
Why?
Because I used a bunch of hymn songs in it. Just because that's what I did. And back then, they wouldn't be like, hey, we own this, so we're going to put ads on it. You're okay, but you can't monetize it. Back then, they would just yank shit.
Right.
So, and there's no copy of it. So the first video that was ever on this channel, no one could find. Which is an interesting little tidbit, but...
and you don't have, like, a hard copy of it?
No, because it was on the first camera I ever had that was mine. And it was on, like, a mini disc. And it would go...
I remember those, yeah.
And that thing was such a piece of shit, dude. Like, we would shoot for, like, 40 minutes... and then I would go to watch it back, and there's just nothing on the disc. It's like, what the fuck happened?
You're like, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah, especially because Tim never wanted to film anything. Bathroom Money was so against the camera. And I would finally get him to, like, shoot something, and then the fucking footage would be gone. He's like, well, I'm not doing it.
We tried.
Like, fuck. Like, we had gold here. It was just like him, like, doing somersaults in the backyard. And I'm like, this is gold. But yeah, that was, like, the first one.